So this is the kind of debate. I don't bring any moral judgment. I just say at the present moment, our banking legislation, except for the issue of tax evasion, is exactly the same as it is in the rest of Europe. But we have a controversy whether tax evasion is a crime or not. We do not consider it a crime, but we think, we believe in tax competition. We have tax competition amongst the 26 cantons. We don't have a federal tax system in Switzerland. So there is tax competition between 26 cantons and 2,000 communities. It's up to the community to decide what you pay as a tax in the community. And it's directly related to your policy of expenditures. So if you don't like the community and paying tax in the community, you settle, you choose another community. Well, I take this decision within Switzerland. I mean, I work in Bern. Bern has a certain tax level. I can decide to commute 15 minutes more and to have a better deal on tax. So I move to the community which offers me a better tax deal. So whether this is politically an argument which will fly and be sustainable in the European context, we will see. I'll have to negotiate with the European Union.
Thank you. You mentioned earlier Switzerland is known because they're very good at two arenas. You mentioned business and you mentioned sciences. We've heard a lot about business already. Can you tell us something about science and any exciting projects you might be doing right now?
Well, in science, one of the features is that because of the strong place of the Swiss business community, a lot of scientific and research work in Switzerland is done by the private sector. So the whole biochemical, chemical industry, machine science, technical sciences, a lot is invested by the private sector. We have two major federal high schools, and as I said, it's in terms of innovation and patents is one of the most creative countries. As me being here now, the permanent representative at the UN, what we try to do in the area of science is foster cooperation between scientific institutes in Switzerland in order to provide good material for policy decision at the United Nations. So we have invested a lot, for instance, in the Small Arms Survey, which is the authoritative work today if you deal with proliferation of small arms. So this is a Geneva Institute which have built it up. We have done a lot of research work on mine action and contributed with science institutes on the detection of mines and the destruction of mines. So in those areas which I mentioned as being relevant to human security, we have invested a lot, and we try to associate scientific institutes, actually not only from Switzerland but worldwide, because the science community is very global as well. One of the big hubs of Swiss science investment is the Boston area, which spends more Swiss research and science money than is spent in Switzerland. So the combination of Harvard, MIT, this is a very strong focus. The whole Basel chemical industry has its research centers in the Boston area. And actually, in terms of the Swiss government, Boston is I haven't seen any other country which has closed its consulate in Boston in order to open a representation at Harvard. So we do have a Swiss embassy at Harvard. which is quite an interesting innovation from the government side. But we think there are so many Swiss, so much money, so much activity going on that as government we should be present as well and push and promote those partnership and relations.
Can we do one more question?
Sure.
There he is.
Hello. Yes, on our papers here it said that Swiss concerns about EU is that they see it as being not democratic enough. So when EU states governments push integrationist agendas like the Lisbon Treaty and ignore large-scale popular protests for referendums in those countries, the Swiss concerns seem very valid. So what advice or what lesson should EU nation states take from the Swiss example when dealing with UN affairs, EU affairs?
Well, it's not to me to give any recipe and advice to the Europeans and the European Union. Those members of the European Union and the Union as such has to find its way and how to deal with the legitimate demands of democracy, transparency. I just say that as things are now, and as I read the political fabric of my country, I can see how they would easily accept a situation where so much competence is with a central institution in Brussels and where so little political control is close to the concerns of the people. I said beforehand, there is no miracle in the world of politics. I'm the last one trying to pretend that this is heaven on earth. I know too much about the pitfalls and weaknesses of a political system which is so democratic and transparent as ours. Huh? So there might be value in when politics and institutions are growing in Europe to have different formula. I strongly believe that you can't learn from history and we can't learn from each other. You can only get inspired by what you see around you, and then you have to find your way. And the European Union has, Switzerland has. Maybe we come to the conclusion one day that a trade-off is good and we would like to join this union. Maybe not. I don't know. We came to the conclusion after 45 years that it was worthwhile joining the United Nations, which brings me to New York, which is a good thing.
I want to thank you so much, Ambassador Maurer.
Thanks a lot.
You started off saying, we were asking you, how does one do this? It is a miracle. And one of the first things you said was, well, we invest in our people. So simple, but really, what a wonderful idea, what a wonderful logo for a country, to invest in its people. And we try at FTU to invest also in our students. And can I become a citizen? How do we apply? We Lebanese want to be Swiss. Thank you very, very much for a lovely evening, and thank you for your questions.
Thank you.